Time for tonight's rewrite. When President Obama brought his jobs bill to Congress and announced that he wanted to pay for it by making the tax code more fair, by imposing what he called the Buffett rule, so that billionaires like Warren Buffett would no longer pay lower income tax rates than their middle-class employees, Republicans did not bother to address the details in the president's plan. The Republicans' rebuttal was a two-word slogan.
Class warfare.
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 At first, the president responded in classic Obama style, with logic and with, of course, the mandatory denial that it was class warfare.
This is not class warfare. It's math. The money's going to have to come from someplace. And if we're not willing to ask those who've done extraordinarily well to help America close the deficit, and we are trying to reach that same target of $4 trillion, then the logic, the math says everybody else has to do a whole lot more. We've got to put the entire burden on the middle class and the poor. We've got to scale back on the investments that have always helped our economy grow. We've got to settle for second-rate roads and second-rate bridges and second-rate airports and schools that are crumbling. That's unacceptable to me. That's unacceptable to the American people. And it will not happen on my watch.
Then a rookie Senate candidate in Massachusetts showed the president that he could have a little more fun with this, that he could breathe a little more fire into his response.
I hear all this, well, this is class warfare, this is whatever. No, there is nobody in this country who got rich on his own. Nobody. You built a factory out there, good for you, but I want to be clear, you moved your goods to market on the roads the rest of us paid for. Yep. You hired workers the rest of us paid to educate. You were safe in your factory because of police forces and fire forces that the rest of us paid for. You didn't have to worry that marauding bands would come and seize everything at your factory and hire someone to protect against this because of the work the rest of us did. Now look, you built a factory and it turned into something terrific or a great idea. God bless. Keep a big hunk of it. But part of the underlying social contract is you take a hunk of that and pay forward for the next kid who comes along.
Okay, so the marauding bands thing might have been a little too much, but the president and his speechwriters were listening, and then they rewrote his position on class warfare.
You can make millions, you can make billions of dollars in America. This is the land of opportunity. That's great. All I'm saying is, if you've done well, I've done well, then you should do a little something to give something back. You should want to see the country that provided you with this opportunity to be successful and be able to provide opportunity for the young people who are going to be coming up behind you. Now, the Republicans, when I talked about this earlier in the week, they said, well, this is class warfare. You know what? If asking a billionaire to pay their fair share of taxes, to pay the same tax rate as a plumber or a teacher, is class warfare, then you know what? I'm a warrior for the middle class. I'm happy to fight for the middle class. I'm happy to.
So the president goes from the safe political position of denying that it's class warfare to declaring himself a happy warrior for the middle class. And he does this in a matter of days. And he does it after using the Elizabeth Warren idea about how the rich should pay it forward. Then the president adds his own rhetorical flourishes and improvements. The happy warrior for the middle class. If we want to know what the candidate Obama is going to say next, maybe we should keep an eye on candidate Warren.